One person who was always anti-Diddy and was always speaking about Diddy as a problematic person was 50 Cent.
He would do a lot of foul shit, like behind the scenes. He would do some foul shit, like.
But I also didn't participate. I also didn't go to those parties.
Yeah.
Puffy was playing with you.
The moment Diddy saw 50 Cent enter that courtroom, everything changed. His confident exterior faded instantly. His eyes locked on 50, his jaw clenched, and his hands trembled slightly under the table. The calm, composed image he had built over decades seemed to vanish in real time. By the third day of the trial, multiple witnesses had taken the stand, and all pointed to one thing. Diddy was visibly shaken after 50 Cent voiced his public support for Cassie. What followed caught everyone off guard, delivering a twist no one in the room could have expected, and it might just turn the entire case upside down.
Fifth, when you continuously call Puff gay, does that affect your relationships in Hollywood?
I don't call him gay. I said,
Let me read it, Fifth.
Oh my God.
Sorry I can no longer help you guys. Soon you will all be gay and happy. You are all now left under leadership of Puffy Daddy. Report to the nearest rainbow. Dinner Thieves in theaters January 19th.
That's why he says things. He doesn't even know what he's saying is like fruity. You know what I'm saying? Like, he says something fabulous and he goes, but me and you, we ain't party. Like, we need to party. What is he talking about? That's the kind of stuff. When people say that to me, I get a little uncomfortable. I get uncomfortable. Like, he said something to me one time, a long time ago. At Chris Lighty's wedding, he told me he'd take me shopping. I looked at him like, what you just say? Let me move, man, before I do something. You're gonna make me mess up the wedding.
Oh, that's a nice gesture.
Let me get out of no, dude, you take me. That's what a guy says to.
For over 3 decades, Sean Diddy Combs carefully curated every detail of his public image. From red carpet charm to late-night interviews, he always seemed unshakable, his smile calculated, his responses smooth, and his presence always in control. Even in moments of controversy, like a failed restaurant venture in 2012 or tough interview questions in 2017, Diddy never let the mask slip. He walked through the fire like it was all part of the plan. Behind the scenes, though, this image wasn't left to chance. Sources close to the music mogul say he employed a dedicated team of 12 people solely focused on managing his reputation. Everything from scripted answers to practiced facial expressions was carefully prepared in advance. One former assistant even claimed Diddy spent hours rehearsing interviews in front of mirrors, guided by a full-time media coach who drilled him with rapid-fire scenarios to test his reactions. But away from the cameras, a different picture started to emerge. Whispers from former employees painted a far less composed figure, someone prone to anger and outbursts when things didn't go his way. A former Bad Boy Records staffer revealed there were really 2 versions of him, the calm, polished Diddy everyone saw on TV, and the one throwing phones when a meeting went sideways. These stories were easy to dismiss, until the signs began showing in public. Just before the trial began, paparazzi caught Diddy snapping at a fan outside his lawyer's office. Then, during a press conference, he gripped the podium so tightly his knuckles turned pale. To most people, these were minor moments. But for someone who spent millions building a flawless public persona, they spoke volumes. According to crisis management expert Tanya Rodriguez, high-profile figures often build image fortresses around themselves. But when cracks form, they can spread fast. And once those walls start to crumble, the entire structure can collapse. And that collapse came fast. On the 3rd day of trial, several people in the courtroom witnessed a version of Diddy they'd never seen. Court reporter Marcus Jenkins described him as visibly unsettled, his legs shaking so hard it made the table tremble. Diddy reportedly interrupted his attorney multiple times, each interruption more agitated than the last, until the judge had to step in. Then came the breaking point, an emotional outburst during testimony that prompted a stern warning from Judge Harmon, who threatened him with contempt if it happened again. The calm mogul image was gone, replaced by a fury no one expected to witness in public. And then, as if scripted for maximum drama, the courtroom doors opened, and in walked someone Diddy never thought he'd see standing on the opposite side. 50 Cent, the longtime rival, who had his own reasons for stepping into that room, brought an energy that changed everything. Witnesses say Diddy turned pale the moment he saw him. His expression froze, and whatever composure he had left seemed to vanish in an instant. That single entrance didn't just rattle Diddy. It may have changed the entire course of the case.
Did he do it, right?
Yeah.
I know
He did
you've been heavy on social
he
media
did it.
talking about
He
it.
did it. And I'm the only one who's been vocal about this long before it actually. But I also didn't participate. I also didn't go to those parties.
Yeah.
So a lot of the celebrity culture that you don't hear saying anything is because they participated.
Was there a reason you never went to those parties back in the day?
I'm just not with all that flicky shit. Like all of the stuff that he's doing, I'm not into that type of stuff. I'm just a little more, maybe you could say basic or normal.
And it turns out that it's just been announced that he's created a docu-series on Netflix. I can't wait to see this. The other end of that, every person who has tried to speak out about this, who has tried to speak out about the industry, the type of people that are controlling the industry, the attacks that people face from the media if they try to speak out, is always the same. They're called crazy. And an example of one such individual who went through those sorts of attacks is the actor Orlando Brown. He was on Disney, and I remember everyone telling us that he was totally insane and deranged when he was saying a lot of things that at the time sounded crazy, particularly about Diddy. Take a listen.
The requirement is you gotta say no to Diddy. If it's new booty in the building, you know he gonna get it.
Don't take your girlfriend to a Diddy party.
You can take the but he won't you.
Diddy, to me, is the fall guy. We are still seeing a major effort to protect the big names, just like with Jeffrey Epstein.
Tell him the story.
Tell him the story. So we talking about rumors, right?
Yeah.
And we, when you Google his name, there's a rumor that pops up that he was Diddy's boy toy.
Oh shit.
Right?
Wait, so this is
So Charlamagne said
It's not true, but I told after he brought up the stuff with you, I said, you know what 50 gonna say when he meets you?
Oh no, I don't know that was going on.
You know,
I can't wait to run into him again.
what you gonna say to him?
Puffy was playing with your booty in Miami.
You know what 50 gonna say to you when he sees you.
What?
I heard Diddy touch the butt.
Yeah. Wait till I see him. Wait till I see him. I'm like, yo.
The tension between 50 Cent and Sean Diddy Combs spans nearly 2 decades, and it's far more than a casual feud. Since the early 2000s, their rivalry has been sharp, strategic, and often deeply personal. While many industry beefs simmer quietly, this one is played out front and center. From radio interviews to social media jabs, 50 Cent has never held back, regularly criticizing Diddy's character and decisions, sometimes even suggesting he might know more about past tragedies in the music world than he lets on. So when 50 Cent made an unexpected entrance into the courtroom on day 3 of Diddy's trial, the atmosphere changed instantly. Dressed in a sharp black suit and wearing his signature sunglasses, 50 didn't say a word, but his presence said everything. According to court reporter Janelle Martin, the silence in the room was so heavy you could hear phones vibrating in people's pockets. Diddy, mid-discussion with his legal team, stopped cold. His head jerked up, and multiple witnesses say his expression rapidly shifted, from confusion to disbelief to what looked like fear. No one anticipated 50 would attend the trial in person. Yes, he'd made several pointed remarks online since Cassie filed her lawsuit, sharing a viral clip from 2016 that showed Diddy allegedly confronting her, with a biting caption, "Money can't hide who you are." That single post racked up over 12 million views, followed by a string of others implying he had more damning material in reserve. What most didn't know is that 50 had already been in quiet contact with Cassie's legal team. A source familiar with the situation revealed that his representatives reached out shortly after the lawsuit became public. 50 reportedly expressed his support and offered assistance in any way he could. He's always played the long game, the source said. This wasn't just about drama. It was calculated. As 50 settled into the back of the courtroom, all eyes darted between him and Diddy, creating a tension you could almost feel. Diddy tried to stay focused on his notes, but courtroom sketches captured him repeatedly glancing over his shoulder. He wasn't just distracted, he was visibly rattled. Then, during a break in proceedings, the moment everyone was waiting for arrived. 50 Cent stepped outside to speak with reporters. And what he said made headlines within minutes. He didn't just voice support for Cassie. He announced he was personally funding her legal fight through his G-Unit Foundation. "I'm putting resources behind making sure survivors are heard," he said. "And I plan to help others come forward. This isn't about my history with Diddy. It's about what's right." Back inside the courtroom, The impact was immediate. Witnesses say Diddy reacted with explosive frustration, slamming his hand against the defense table so hard that a water glass tipped over. His lawyer leaned in, attempting to calm him down, but the tremor in Diddy's posture was impossible to ignore. Security personnel subtly moved closer. And just when it seemed things couldn't escalate further, prosecutors dropped another surprise. They were preparing to present new evidence they claimed would prove Diddy had committed perjury. As the courtroom screens flickered to life, no one could have predicted what would appear next.
You do a lot of foul shit. Like behind the scenes, you would do some foul shit, like hating on, like doing things with people I done business with. That he done business with, he would say shit that I was like, he said that to you,
right?
I was like, yeah, it's all right. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and niggas don't know what they like till they see somebody with it, so they want the girls after you're done with them and shit.
Yeah, leftovers.
Yeah,
you take your leftovers. A lot of niggas have more leftovers.
The atmosphere inside the courtroom was already on edge following 50 Cent's surprise arrival. But what happened next sent tension through the roof. You could feel the entire room holding its breath, waiting for the next shoe to drop. Prosecutors looked calm, too calm, wearing the kind of quiet confidence that suggested something major was coming. Your Honor, the state would like to present evidence labeled 47B, the lead prosecutor announced. Confusion immediately swept across the defense table. According to a courtroom source, Diddy's lead attorney jumped to his feet and objected. "We haven't received anything identified as 47B during discovery," he argued, clearly caught off guard. That's when it became clear this wasn't just a regular courtroom development. Something significant was unfolding behind the scenes. The judge quickly called both legal teams to the bench. For 5 tense minutes, they engaged in a private, animated discussion. Meanwhile, Diddy sat alone, glancing anxiously over his shoulder toward 50 Cent, who remained still in the back row. The courtroom sketch artist later told me that Diddy began cracking his knuckles, one by one, something she'd only seen him do during moments of high stress. When the lawyers returned to their seats, Diddy's legal team looked visibly shaken. The judge turned to the jury and declared, "This evidence will be allowed. It was only obtained yesterday." Then came the reveal. The prosecutor explained that they had secured surveillance footage from Diddy's Miami property, dated April 2018. When the courtroom screens lit up, the tone shifted instantly. The footage showed Diddy and Cassie in a hallway. Though there was no sound, the body language spoke volumes. Diddy could be seen pointing aggressively, backing Cassie against a wall. Then came the moment that silenced the entire room. Diddy grabbing her by the shoulders, shaking her, and shoving her to the ground. Gasps echoed through the gallery. Diddy's reaction was immediate. He stood up so fast that his chair toppled behind him. "That's not what happened," he yelled. His attorney rushed to restrain him, whispering urgently in his ear. But it was clear something had snapped. Diddy's breathing grew heavy, his eyes wide with panic. A court officer moved discreetly closer, ready in case things escalated. What made the situation even more serious was how directly the footage contradicted Diddy's own testimony from just the day before. On the record, he had stated, "I have never physically confronted Ms. Ventura or any woman." He went further, adding, "There is no video or evidence of me doing anything like that because it simply didn't happen." As the prosecutors pointed out the discrepancy, Diddy unraveled. He shook his head repeatedly, mumbled under his breath, and at one point laid his head down on the table in defeat. His legal team requested an emergency break, but the judge declined. "We will proceed. Mr. Combs must maintain control," the judge said sternly. After court adjourned, even the bailiff shared his thoughts. "In all my years, I've never seen a defendant's behavior shift so completely in one session. It was like watching someone come undone in real time." Word of the explosive footage spread rapidly beyond the courtroom. Hollywood circles buzzed with texts and phone calls. Longtime allies began distancing themselves. The public silence that once protected Diddy's reputation began to crack, just as clearly as his composure had inside that courtroom.
He was not offended by what I was offended by.
Wow, they found Kendrick and Wifey.
That's that's obviously doing shopping. They got the same outfit.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, that's a nice shirt. That's a nice shirt. All right, so when he said the shopping line in real life, what did you say?
I said, let me get away from him. Because it was like, he was like, yo, you hot now. Now we got to hang out now. Like, like hang out.
Yeah.
He said, I don't know, maybe I take you shopping and I could just flash and you could give me the hood shit. And I was looking and I was like, let me just move away from him because I'm going to mess up the wedding. I always say to myself, like,
it was someone's wedding?
It was Chris Lighty's wedding. It was in Miami. Nori's there. Nori knows this because I looked at him like, yo.
At the start of this trial, Diddy seemed wrapped in a golden shield, one forged by years of loyalty from Hollywood's elite. A-list stars packed his events, collaborated on chart-topping hits, and stood by him through every headline and controversy. For decades, Diddy was seen as untouchable. Few dared to question him, and even fewer were willing to speak out. But everything shifted after day 3 in court. That powerful courtroom footage, combined with Diddy's visibly shaken reaction, rattled the entertainment world. The silence surrounding him began to crack. Still, the real tipping point? It was 50 Cent. When 50 publicly backed Cassie, it gave others permission to do the same. It broke the dam, said one music executive. People suddenly realized they didn't have to be the first to take a stand. They could follow 50's lead. And that's exactly what happened. Within hours of 50 Cent's courthouse appearance, the celebrity world split. Quiet but deliberate actions began surfacing. Usher, once a frequent Diddy collaborator, unfollowed him on Instagram. Mary J. Blige, a longtime ally during the bad boy era, did the same. Justin Bieber, who often called Diddy a mentor, went further, unfollowing him and scrubbing every shared photo from his feed. This wasn't coincidence. It was calculated distance. Social media turned into a coded war zone. Lizzo posted the words, "Believe women." The Weeknd shared a black screen with "Power doesn't equal truth." Even Drake, known for staying neutral, wrote, "The truth always surfaces eventually." Then came the more direct responses. Cardi B took to Instagram Live, saying, "I've seen this kind of behavior in the industry for too long. It's time we stop protecting people just because they have money." She never named Diddy, but no one needed her to. Perhaps the clearest sign of how far Diddy's influence has fallen? His calls are going unanswered. One of his team members quietly admitted that several stars, who once jumped to answer his calls, are now letting him go straight to voicemail. Rihanna hasn't responded to him since the courtroom meltdown, despite 6 attempted calls. And according to insiders, Beyoncé and Jay-Z are ignoring urgent requests from Diddy's camp to make a public show of support. Meanwhile, Cassie's support network is growing fast. Artists who once shared studio space with Diddy are now contacting her legal team, offering to testify. Female performers, previously silent, are now speaking up. Lady Gaga reportedly sent flowers to Cassie's home with a short handwritten note, "I believe you." Just a week ago, such an outpouring would have been impossible. Diddy's influence used to be too strong, too risky to challenge. But now, that power seems to be fading by the hour. As more celebrities distance themselves and the evidence stacks up, Diddy's long-cultivated composure appears to be unraveling. Fast. And the most shocking moments? They're still ahead.
All these years, you've been the only one calling this out.
No, I look like I've been the crazy guy for a long
they
time.
They said you're a hater. They said you're crazy.
You do this. Yeah, and now everybody's complaining. My ass is hurting. There's all this shit that's coming.
50, you can't make jokes about it.
No.
The internet might come for you, bro.
All I'm saying
it might come for you.
You see it now. All of these complaints. People were damned. They were and pillaged. This was what was going on, right? And what do I get for I went through years of a hater. You're a hater. You want this and that. I'm just watching. Like I look at things and go, when you see the new lawsuit coming with Jay, the part with Jay, I go, oh shoot, like. Then I think about it, I go, that had to be there. So when I was saying that he was missing, he just wasn't actively being out there because they was dealing with that.
Wait, do you think there's truth to the Jay thing? There's no way.
Like that, look, like if you say, I I have this thing where I'm conflicted when it takes you 20 years to remember something happened to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I go also 10 years, 20 years later, that comes back. And it's like all of Puff's problems are coming from the ministers touching little boys.
What you mean?
The laws are the way they are because
Because
of the priests.
The priests touching little boys.
Oh.
For this,
How much is this guy trying to get?
I don't know. Like it's a simple suit situation, but it's like
20 mil, I can say it.
You still have to black his face out. You still have to mimic his voice because he's like,
But his
damn.
voice wasn't even that different.
And that little deeper. I was like, almost like, no, that's you, young buck.
Yo,
I almost felt like it was him. I almost knew who it was. You know what I mean? I was like, nah. You heard what he just said, right? He's like, yo, certain things they let it go by because it's Puff. Like they would look, like he would say stuff, but it's like he wasn't like in the closet, he was like in the hallway. Now you see so much shit that you go, wait. No, this was visible,
He
guys.
was in the hallway. We saw the video.
You see
We saw that video.
It comes out later. You're like, that's not the closet. That's the hallway. He didn't give a fuck. Like you can tell that he was already.
Nah, New York is dope. Because when Fab, he was like, yo, Fab, we ain't party. Fab was like, nah, we partying tonight.
He's like, no, like, but he didn't party. Yeah. And I'm like, yo, they let that one go. Like, I had to say something about it later because I was like, oh. It was
The Real explosion came on day 3 during Cassie's testimony. By mid-afternoon, the courtroom was packed. Reporters lined the back wall, celebrities dotted the gallery, and 50 Cent sat stone-faced with his arms crossed. Diddy, on the other hand, was visibly unraveling. Court clerk Melissa Johnson noted his increasing restlessness. Whispers to his lawyers grew louder. His leg bounced beneath the table. His tie was constantly being loosened and retightened. He looked like a man on the verge. Cassie took the stand around 2:30 p.m. calm, composed, making firm eye contact with the jury. She described a 2019 incident, testifying that after attempting to end their relationship, Diddy threatened to destroy her career. He told me, "I made you, and I can end you just as easily," she stated. Diddy began shaking his head before she even finished. His attorney gripped his arm repeatedly, trying to calm him. The judge, noticing, passed a written note to Diddy's counsel, a quiet but clear warning. Then came the moment that broke him. Cassie spoke about a party at Diddy's Hamptons estate in 2018. She testified that after he saw her talking to another music executive, he locked her in a bedroom for 2 days. The effect on Diddy was instant. His eyes widened. His jaw clenched. A vein throbbed visibly on his forehead. Suddenly, he stood up. His attorney lunged to pull him back, but Diddy was beyond control. "That's all lies," he shouted, pointing straight at Cassie. "You know what you did." The courtroom froze. Cassie flinched slightly, but refused to break eye contact with the jury. Then Diddy turned toward the gallery. "And you," he yelled, locking eyes with 50 Cent, "you'll regret getting involved." Security swarmed instantly. 2 officers stood between Diddy and the witness stand. Another positioned himself behind Diddy's chair. "Mr. Combs, you will control yourself in my courtroom," Judge Harmon declared, banging her gavel 3 times. "One more outburst, and you will be held in contempt." Diddy's attorney tried requesting a recess, but the judge shut it down immediately. "Sit down, counsel. We are proceeding." What people witnessed wasn't just a moment, it was a collapse. The image Diddy had curated for decades of poise, control, and power shattered in seconds. One juror was seen writing furiously in her notebook as it happened. "Cassie?" She calmly took a sip of water and resumed her testimony. According to her lawyer, this new calm came from knowing she wasn't alone anymore, with powerful allies like 50 Cent now standing behind her. And speaking of 50, he didn't flinch. He didn't even look surprised. He simply gave Diddy a slow, deliberate nod, as if to say, "I expected this. I'm exactly where I want to be." By the end of the day, Diddy's legal team was in crisis mode. Their strategy, painting him as a calm, rational businessman, was no longer tenable. Behind closed doors, they scrambled to rewrite their defense. Just this morning, They filed a motion for a mistrial, claiming 50 Cent's courtroom presence was designed to provoke Diddy and prejudice the jury. They included screenshots of 50's Instagram posts as supposed evidence of a coordinated smear campaign. The judge didn't buy it. She denied the motion swiftly, stating that Mr. Combs is responsible for his own behavior. Now, the defense is scrambling to pivot. They've abandoned the perfect gentleman narrative and are instead leaning into a new angle, Diddy as passionate but misunderstood. Meanwhile, Cassie's legal team is seizing the moment. With Diddy's control visibly slipping, 3 witnesses, who had previously refused to testify, have now come forward. Sources say they include a former security guard and 2 personal assistants, each with first-hand accounts of Diddy's behavior. And 50 Cent? He's not slowing down. In the days since the outburst, he's posted 7 times about the trial. One post showed a split screen of Diddy in court and the 2018 security footage, captioned, "Actions speak louder than lawyers." It racked up over 3 million likes in just a few hours. He's also announced a new documentary series, Music Industry Secrets. Insiders believe Diddy will be a central focus. But perhaps the most shocking transformation is Cassie herself. Observers say she returned to the stand more confident, sitting taller, speaking stronger. Her attorney confirmed the shift. She's finding her voice day by day. Legal analysts are already calling Diddy's courtroom outburst a turning point. Jury consultant Sarah Matthews put it simply, "Jurors believe what they see." And they just saw him lose control. Others noted a physical shift in the jury, members leaning away from the defense table, some no longer looking Diddy in the eye. The damage didn't stop in court. Shares in Diddy's media company dropped 14% overnight. At least 3 corporate partners have quietly paused collaborations. His talent agency is reviewing his contract. Industry insiders estimate his losses could reach $200 million, regardless of the verdict. The power dynamic is unrecognizable now. Diddy, once feared, followed, and untouchable, is sitting powerless at the defense table. Cassie, once afraid to speak, is rising stronger with each testimony. And 50 Cent? He's still sitting there, silent, unshaken, watching it all unfold. This case is no longer just about one relationship. It's turning into a reckoning for Diddy, for the industry, and for the culture that protected him for so long. And by all accounts, it's only just begun.